Coming up next on Arizona Horizon's Journalists Roundtable, Republican lawmakers agree on a state budget after much debate and compromise within the caucus. And the fight against last year's law restoring Medicaid expansion gets an appeals court hearing. The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon's Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Mary Jo Pitzel of the Arizona Republic, Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital Times, and Bob Christie of the Associated Press. Quite the week at the state capitol as budget talks made for a noisy family fight among Republican lawmakers. The week started with what I thought you guys were all saying, it's going to get over to the House, things will happen, we'll move on, things will be moving on. Things didn't move on very quickly, did they?
Well, in the context of a budget, I don't know, it took a week for the budget to get out of the House, and it did get off to a rocky start on Monday when they were scheduled to hear the bills, and it was the hurry up and wait. The budget stalled because of objections from a number of lawmakers.
Yeah, and this was basically what, $9.2 some odd billion thing comes over from the Senate. Whole lot of problems with the House there. What happened?
Well, you had six Republican House members who were viewed as more of the moderate members who were holding out. They were kind of unified. They all had their a handful of issues. They didn't feel the Senate budget funded well enough. The new CPS agency, some money for U of A, a handful, some charter school money, a handful of things, and they were negotiating with House Speaker Tobin. And the problem is, they just needed one of them to come on board because you had 30 House Republicans who were for this. You need 31 votes. 6 of them were holding out. So this led to several days of negotiations. They broke down. These 6 actually held a press conference to denounce the negotiations. And then it seemed like things were going to drag on forever. And within 24 hours, they had a deal and it was all voted out.
Again, Bob, when the week started, it was like, okay, let's see what happens over there in the House. I mean, things deteriorated kind of quickly, didn't they?
Well, they did. And it wasn't really that unexpected because no one in the House had been briefed. The leadership had not briefed any of their own Republican caucus. And so they're presented with this budget. Normally they go through small group meetings, they have a little bit of understanding of what's in it. They had some problems with a couple of the issues that were in the Senate passed version, and they just said, no, we want to talk about this before we vote on it.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the 6 that have become somewhat immortalized in photos, but there were other, as one lawmaker said, there were other cliques within the GOP caucus that had problems with the budget, and a lot of that stemmed, as Bob said, because there hadn't been this small group briefing. So people came forward saying, wait, what about that DPS pay raise? Or I've got a lot of charter schools in my districts, this is really going to hurt them. And they took some work to get those people on board.
Those small group meetings, that usually happens, doesn't it? Because every time I ask, doesn't it seem like leadership is just doing this and the rank and file doesn't know what's going on? I keep hearing, no, they have small group meetings. No small group meetings, huh?
No, and usually, all the stuff that we saw very publicly this week, usually this all goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot of wrangling behind closed doors. They get everyone on the same page, and then the legislature starts moving its budget proposal forward. But, the Senate passed its budget last week, and it was pretty clear that no one was really talking to the House. They're just kind of acting unilaterally, so this came over to the House, and nobody really knew what to make of this.
Yeah. Please.
And it's not surprising that it won't surprise us that we have the same problems in the Senate, because when they rolled this budget out in the Senate a week and a half ago now, they said in committee meetings, this is just the beginning, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about this, and bam, bam, in 2 days it was done. So when it gets back to the Senate, there's going to be people over there too who have the same type of questions, I think.
And there seemed to be a couple of major sticking points. I know by midweek, it was amazing that this business with public school districts and charter schools, which I don't think most people even knew existed or at least understand, right. This was a major sticking point.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest sticking point, and certainly had probably the biggest dollar price tag on it. For years, state law allows a public school to convert to a charter school. Hadn't been used a lot until education funding really took a dive during the recession. Then the public schools said, hey, if we convert to charter, we get an extra $1,100 per student. And many school districts did that to help themselves out financially, also to be able to broaden the array of programs that they offer to students. So this kept growing and growing. The state support to education has been climbing back up somewhat slowly from the depths of the recession, and thus it was popular with school districts, but that also has an impact on the budget.
And as far as the Senate budget, we're retroactively saying no go?
Yeah, the Senate budget, they were getting rid of all that, and Senate President Andy Biggs was adamantly opposed to this. He felt like he called it double dipping by these schools, where they're getting the tax dollars that normally go to the public schools, but then getting the extra charter money. You know, they're operating on kind of a razor-thin margin here. You know, there's some extra money to go around, but not enough for what everyone wants. And he thought that was one of the things that definitely had to go.
The charter schools, what we're going to see now is they tried in the House to stop the Biggs plan. Unfortunately, they weren't able to. They were able to get a 1-year reprieve, and then they go away. They were hoping to get at least 3 years and some time to talk about how these conversions happen. There have been 60 schools converted in the last year and a half that are going to cost $33 million, and they're looking at, you know, Andy Biggs is saying it's going to be $300 million, $500 million a year pretty soon, because every school district is going to roll on board.
It kind of made for strange bedfellows, didn't it, when you have conservative Republicans saying this particular choice is no good and this particular innovation for education is no good, and you'd have Democrats about there saying, oh no, this charter school idea is a great idea. It seemed a little topsy-turvy there.
Maybe a little, but I mean, it is a way to keep, you know, the charters are public schools, and you know, no matter which way you cut it, and more of the district schools wanted to come onto it. I think the larger issue out of all this debate, though, is that are we seeing a reckoning? Does everybody asking themselves the question: does Arizona have enough money to support public schools? As you remember, during the recession up through 2012. Public funding to the K-12 system had gone down by about 18 to 19%. It was a big drop, and that money has not come back. Now, there's been a court decision that's going to help the schools with inflation funding, which is something the legislature had not paid for a couple of years. But there are other issues out there, and the charters was a nice way to sort of boost your bottom line.
A creative way to boost that bottom line, but not for long.
Not for long, at least for one more year if this goes through, and we don't even know what's going to happen to it in the Senate. But interesting thing is, you know, there will still be other schools who have already done this, and you know, we're already hearing chatter that some people might be willing to sue over this if, you know, this funding is available for some schools, but now the schools that want to switch aren't going to have this money available.
Yeah, as to the strange bedfellows part about, you know, here's the legislature, the school choice legislature saying, no, we got to stop this school choice. At the same time, they're talking about expanding the voucher system, education savings accounts.
Yes.
And, you know, we have the school tuition organization where you can funnel money to it. So all those things are either very large or being expanded. And when we see districts doing it, regular public schools doing it, putting in innovative classroom instruction and specific programs that really aid kids, holding on, it costs too much.
Another sticking point was funding for this new child welfare agency, whatever it is, whenever it is. And boy, it sounds like what the governor wants, what the Senate had, and what the deal, there's a lot of difference there. Right,
and I think the big rub here is your phrasing, you know, whatever it is, whatever it's going to become. A lot of lawmakers said, look, until we know what the master plan is for this new child welfare agency, how do we know how much money should go for it? Other people say, look, we sort of get it. We know that we need more caseworkers and staff to help the state dig out of the big CPS backlog, handle all those uninvestigated cases, as well as everything new that's coming in. But the prevailing argument among Republicans in the Senate and pretty much in the House as well was that, look, we don't know. Let's let this work group that Brewer has put together come up with their plan, and then we'll have a clearer idea. Which led Representative Kate Brophy-McGee to craft an amendment, which did get put on the budget, that said that it is the intent of the legislature to come back and examine the need for more funding for child welfare after this plan comes out. She says that means the work group's going to come out not just with the plan, but with the budget. Meanwhile, the budget gives them now an extra $3 million more than what the Senate plan had done.
But that extra $3 million is still far short of the number. And granted, we still don't know what it's going for, and that's the idea, is to wait to find out to a certain degree. It's still nowhere near what the governor's looking at and what other folks are calling for.
All right, and when the Senate passed its budget last week, the governor's office kept saying, well, we got problems with this, there are priorities that aren't addressed, and they never specified what they were talking about. But I think what everyone read into that is what one of those primary issues was that the new child welfare agency wasn't being funded to the degree that she wanted. But what we're also hearing is there's a lot of talk that once the session is done, we're going to see a special session for CPS, because as Mary Jo mentioned, this isn't going to be ready for a little while. I think this final report is due May 1st. And after that, people come back to meet that intent clause and fully fund this.
Right. which Senate President Andy Biggs says isn't worth the paper it's written on, and called it ridiculous and several other choice words today when we asked him about it. The legislative intent clause really doesn't do anything, but it does commit them to at least having their names on the document saying, we are going to come back, we're going to fully fund this, or we're going to at least look at funding again.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
fully fund.
right.
I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of slippery words in there, and a lot will hinge on this final report. And I've got to wonder if, because the arguments are you can't hire fast enough anyway, so why give them all that money? I can see this being kicked down the road until next year when we've got a new governor, we've got
Oh,
a new
my
speaker,
goodness.
and and a number of new lawmakers.
Well, that begs the question. I mean, it certainly asks the question, is the governor going to put up with something like that?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I guess we don't know, do we?
No, I don't. The governor's office is being very cagey about their thoughts on the budget in general. They didn't sound as pessimistic about the one that the House passed as they did about the Senate one, but they're still basically withholding all judgment, saying, well, it's too early to see whether the governor would sign this. We've got to see what happens in the Senate now.
This breakaway group of Republicans now, could they have been working, could they be stalking horses for the governor's office? Were they working in conjunction with the governor's office at all?
Well, they were, these folks were all part of the governor's, Medicaid coalition last year, but it seems like they're all kind of on their lonesome here. They're, both them and the governor's office say that they're not working in concert in this. Some of the priorities aligned, not all of them, but they were definitely pushing for some of the things the governor wanted.
No, I think when it comes to CPS, the governor has kept her cards really close, and she has not talked to these lawmakers.
Talk about more this breakaway group. Who were these folks? Why were they willing to go this far? And I mean go so far as to have a press conference, because it sounds like they were doing all the negotiating. I mean, it was just fascinating stuff there in the middle of the week, having all sorts of folks negotiating with all sorts of other folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And they cut off the budget movement on Monday evening, and it blew up from there. This is 6 of the 9 Republicans who joined with all the Democrats last year to embrace Governor Brewer's Medicaid expansion plan. They took great heat for it. They stood tall and did it, and the governor is going to back them up if comes re-election time for doing so. This time, there's only 6 of them. It's Bob Robson from Chandler, Jeff Dial, Doug Coleman, Kate Brophy McGee,
yeah. Heather Carter
and
Ethan
Orr. Now, they managed to get 5 of those 6 to vote for the budget. Ethan Orr wouldn't, because he didn't think it still did enough for education, and he didn't think it did enough for University of Arizona, which is one of his big issues, and he didn't think it did enough for CPS. And that's arguable, whether or not they got everything they wanted. But I think, as we talked earlier, the Republican caucus wanted to stay together, even though they had this big breakup.
Well, and I was going to ask that question. I mean, much drama, at least in the middle of the week, and the press conference and the photographs of them walking, in some sort of formation down. I don't know what that was all about. But the fact is, they wanted something, and they were willing to go to the wall. Was this a good deal for them? It just seems like, I don't know, from a distance, it doesn't look like they got anywhere near what they wanted.
No, most of them got a little bit of what they wanted, but not nearly all of what they wanted. But that's kind of how these things work on the other side. If you would have given them too much, then you start losing votes on the more conservative side. And you heard a lot of the more conservative lawmakers in the House yesterday saying, well, I don't really like how much we increased the spending here, but we've got to pass something. We don't want to hold things up, so we're going to hold our nose and vote for this.
Right. The issue is this wasn't going to be a Democratic-Republican budget like we saw last year.
So there was no chance of that happening?
There was no chance of that happening. So
Not after
this group needed to bring the conservative, more Tea Party Republicans along to their position and get something. And I think they, if you look back, they got some of what they wanted, not everything. Other people gave, but the caucus is still together.
I think they got a little bit of what they wanted for, and this ain't done. I mean, this is going over to the Senate, and the Senate has a harder line on it to even accept elements of this House budget. It's going to be hard to get some of those senators in the Republican caucus over there to agree. But for example, on the charter schools, Heather Carter, who's been the big champion, she sort of stuck her neck out on this big time. She said, look, people, make no mistake, we get a 1-year reprieve, but then that's it. That's done.
Right.
Over. No state funding for these innovative programs, like teaching advanced science, technology, education, engineering and math in the schools. It's not going to happen. they've promised her a beefed up study committee. You know, we have lots of study committees, and they issue lots of reports.
So what happens over in the Senate? You think that there's going to be a grinding of teeth, but let's go along with it anyway?
There might be some of that. I think they'll probably push to knock at least a little bit of this new funding off, as you know, Senate Andy Biggs wants to take a very hard line on the revenue issue. You know, we're looking at a structural budget deficit a few years down the road. But a lot of it might also come down to how the negotiations go with the governor's office now, because you know, for what we've heard a lot, they've kind of taken more of a hands-off approach. They keep saying they were waiting for everyone to agree in the House and then for the legislature to agree. But once it goes over there, then I think Governor Brewer kind of has to start pushing for her priorities there.
I think if they take off the CPS, the extra CPS funding, which isn't very much, I think if they take off the legislative intent, I think if they mess with the charter school deal at all, that we're going to be here for weeks, because these House members didn't get a lot. What they did get, they're going to fight to keep.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression that I got. They did not seem to get a lot, especially after all the drama.
Right, but if you talk to them, they say, well, listen, you know, we got more than we started with. This was thrown at us. We wanted to have the conversation. We weren't just going to take a budget and pass it in a night, which is what leadership wanted us to do. And so they did change the budget, and they did tweak it a little bit. They didn't get a huge new $200 million program or a big checkbook for CPS, but they made some progress.
Yeah. A couple other things that we should note that were in the budget that also were not vetted, that just sort of showed up on last night. An extra $900,000 for private prisons. That had not.
Where did that come from?
John Kavanaugh. Apparently, it was Kavanaugh is the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, and he ran the amendment that added a lot of things to the budget, but that had not been vetted before through his Appropriations Committee. The Democrats and some of the Republicans, you know, made a plea for money for child's care subsidies, arguing that, look, this is a big preventive measure. You know, we may not have as many problems with CPS down the road if we can help parents, you know, keep their kids in good care. They got nothing whatsoever. So yeah, and then we had a lovely amendment come up about 9 o'clock last night when Representative Stevens successfully passed an amendment on voice vote that would rebid the mental health care contract for Maricopa County. That contract changes hands on Tuesday, and on Thursday night the legislature's looking at starting all over again.
Well, that was certainly an interesting bit of information, because last night we had the folks from Mercy Maricopa and talking about the switch from Magellan to Mercy Maricopa. We had them on the program, and they were all optimistic. Chick Arnold was here saying that April 1st things are going to change. Integrated care replaces what's happening before, and we know that Magellan did not like the bidding process, and they're in the courts fighting this. Well, goodness gracious, we could have had a little earth-shaking thing happen here in Maricopa County regarding behavioral health services.
Yeah, we could have. This contract goes into effect on Tuesday. Magellan who lost out on the bid. You know, they're fighting this in court. The administrative law judge let it go into effect. They're suing in Maricopa County Superior Court, but the court process drags on for a long time, and it looks like they felt like this might be a quicker, more efficient way to get rid of this MMIC contract, which had been fighting for a long time. And this got added on to one of the budget bills and then taken off later when a lot of people started raising Cain when they realized what this was.
Right. This was quite interesting because it got put on a voice vote. Someone called for a roll call vote, Heather Carter, and stood up and said, I don't like this. Do you know what this does? This is a $1 billion contract. We're voiding. It starts next week. And it stayed on the vote. And then they walked away. And sure enough, all sorts of people started scurrying, and cell phones started going off with text messages. And the next thing you know, we're back in committee again, and whoosh, it's gone. So,
but it's gone from the House budget, but it is not gone because Representative Stevens, as well as the Magellan representatives, say, look, you know, we think that this contract was awarded illegally. We're taking our case to the Senate because that's where the budget is now, and they see this as an opportunity to educate people. They realize that they can't stop the contract from changing hands on April 1. The Senate can't act that quickly, but they're hoping to send a signal, and I guess they're hoping that Governor Brewer might pay attention and try to step in and void a contract.
Well, not only void the contract, but then keep Mercy Maricopa from even bidding on the next process. Is that true?
Yeah, one of the provisions would more or less keep them out of this, because the big argument from Magellan over why they shouldn't have gotten this is state law prohibits these regional behavioral health administrators from actually being behavioral health providers.
Yes.
And MMIC, the group that got this bid, was actually a conglomeration, a partnership between the county hospital system and a behavioral health provider.
Yeah, the nonprofit, the
Mercy
Medical
Care.
Yeah.
And so they're arguing that that's a conflict of interest that violates the law, and this amendment would have reiterated that, hey, this law we passed years ago would bar someone from doing this.
I guess the rule is just be aware of what's going on there.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime they're in session.
Absolutely. I was flipping through this giant stack of amendments trying to find this when I'm reading it, and they took a break, and I called Representative Stevens over and said, what is this? Do you ever see what this does? Not only do you avoid $1 billion contract, but you prevent them from bidding again, and we haven't had any, there's been no discussions on this, there's been no committee hearings, it just pops in. And
Yeah, and Stevens does point out, I guess correctly so, that this amendment's been out there since Monday. So if people had, if lawmakers and lobbyists had read these packages, but there was none of the staff write-up that sort of takes this technical legal language and puts it into plain English and says the effect of this is to.
Wow.
So a lot of brinksmanship, and watch for more of that happening in the Senate.
Oh, I'll bet. Okay, that'll be interesting. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to report on that. The governor has freed a longtime prisoner, a murderer. What is this all about?
It's been named Patrick Maloney. He's been in prison for about 50 years. He murdered his mother and stepfather. And the governor, just in this past week, commuted his sentence. He's freed. This is very unusual. This governor has commuted far fewer sentences than any of her predecessors. I believe this is only the second of her 5.5 years in office. They offered no explanation for why she did this. This recommendation has actually been sitting on her desk for 4 years, and so we really have no idea why she did it. But it's it's very significant considering how rarely this happens under Governor Brewer.
Any clues as to what this is all about?
Really not. The Clemency Board looked at it, they recommended it, it sat on the governor's desk, she made the decision.
For 4 years.
Well, the governor takes her time, I guess.
So again, 4 years, no comment. Is it unusual for the governor not to make a comment, or the governor's office not to make a comment?
Not in the, well, we've only had one other case
Yeah,
like
I guess,
this.
yeah, you're right.
So no, I think that it's sort of pro forma for her.
We don't know why she did it. We don't know why she waited, and we may never know.
We may not.
All right. We do know one thing, though, that Medicaid expansion, the big to-do last year in the legislature, that is still the fight is still going on. We have an appeals court hearing, and it's basically the same old argument that what they did was unconstitutional.
Oh yeah. Well, that's part of the argument, but obviously the lawsuit was filed over whether or not Medicaid expansion violated constitutional provision that requires a 2/3 vote. But this hearing wasn't about that. This was kind of about the fight, over whether or not this group of anti-Medicaid expansion legislators actually has the right to sue to challenge this, because the Superior Court judge tossed out the case that you guys don't have standing. They argued that the judge said the only people who have the right to sue are the people who pay the tax. The only problem with that is people who pay the tax actually get more back in federal dollars.
Yes.
So it's set up so every single hospital system in the state who pays this gets more back. So there's a great disincentive for them to challenge
And
this.
I believe they prefer the term assessment than tax.
The governor's office and the other supporters, yes, it is an assessment, not a tax.
Yeah,
so
so this is, and again, what the judge was initially saying is he can't be harmed because you're the one who made the choice, correct? In terms of the vote.
Right. But again, as Jeremy said, it is the fight over the fight.
Yeah.
And you had as it turned out, a minority of the legislature saying, we don't like this. And you had, I'm sorry, and they declared, I'm going to get this back right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll get it. In order to require a 2/3 vote, more than half of the lawmakers have to vote
Yes.
to require that. So we have to say, okay, it's a tax, and now we need 2/3, but only 51% for 16, 15 plus 1 have to do that. So it went to court. The legislature sued. Andy Biggs and Andy Tobin and all the Republicans who weren't on board with the expansion sued. Superior Court judge threw it out and said you don't have the right to sue because you haven't been harmed. You're not paying the assessment.
Right.
And now the appeals court is deciding whether to review it or not. So the whole argument Wednesday was, should we review it? We haven't decided to take it yet, but is it a tax? But it's not a tax. And based on the questions, I think we might see them take this case.
Okay.
We might see them take this case.
Will we all be on Medicare by the time they take this case?
This Medicaid
courts-
will be well implemented by the time
right.
we get a resolution.
All right, we got to stop it right there. Great conversation. Good to have you all here. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.